Goodbye, goodbye. Look at this photograph.
It's Nickelback.
Every time I do, it makes me laugh. Every time I do, it makes me.
Photograph here on Manx Radio. And as I said, that just happened to be the next song in the set list. I didn't fix that at all. And it's quite fitting because my studio guest this afternoon is known on the island mostly, I would say, for his photography. Jimmy Thistle, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Christy. Thanks for having me on. Yeah,
the last time I spoke to you, in fact, was about your photography exhibition in Port Erin.
Yeah. That was last January, February, I think. So it's been a while, but yeah.
And you're known for taking fabulous photos of the Isle of Man. I mean, it's an easy place to photograph, I suppose, isn't it?
Well, thank you for saying that. I mean,
I don't mean as in anyone could do it. I mean,
no. But when people say, "Oh, your photography's really
it's
good,"
lovely,
and that, and I do kind of say, "Well, the Isle of Man is such an amazing place and beautiful scenery and all that." So it does make what I do a lot easier, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But the thing, I think we said this at the time and I was talking to you about it, the thing I love about your photography is you have a slightly different perspective. It's not just, here's a pretty vista. You pick up on things that other people maybe don't necessarily see.
Yeah, when we spoke about that before and I was saying, I do kind of banalography and things like that and I try and take different angles. But the way I see it now, I try and take what make my eyes smile, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So if I see something that stirs something in me, then I'll go and take it. And if other people like it, then that works as well.
It's a bonus.
So, yeah,
it's
exactly.
Now, I'm guessing that this time next week you will already have taken a number of photographs of the island because you're about to embark on a big old coastal walk. And I'm just going to refer to something you put on your Just Giving page because your whole Just Giving page, because you're raising money on this walk, starts with the phrase, "Motivate saved my life." That is quite the statement, Jimmy Thistle.
Yeah, it is, and it's true. I'm not just doing that for shock value. I don't think I'd be here if it wasn't for Motivate. There's the 3 sayings they have in kind of alcoholism addiction, and it's like you either end up in jails, institutions, or death. So one of those 3 is kind of any of those 3 I don't want. So yeah, so Motivate really helped me get myself out of that kind of the slump that I was in with addiction and alcoholism. So yeah, so I just want to say thank you to them by raising money because they are a charity on the island and they need such a large amount of money. I think a year, like $500,000 to sustain what they do. So obviously anything we can do to help them sustain that is amazing. So I'm partaking in this 100-mile walk around the island.
And you had tried to sort of sort yourself out, hadn't you, in advance of that? You tried other ways to sort of come through this, but it was only really with the help of Motivate that you were able to get sober as such.
Yeah, tried and failed so many times, and each time the rock bottom got worse. I thought I'd hit it, and then it got worse and worse and worse. And I think what I realised was when I got to Motivate that I needed help. I always thought I could do this on myself. It was that big bravado thing. It's like, oh yeah, I don't have a problem, or if I do have a problem, I can fix it. And I couldn't, and that's the first kind of realisation that when you can reach out and ask for help and it's there, then you can start to fix your life and start to get things back on track. And Motivate were there to kind of help me and show me that, it's okay to ask for help. And essentially that's what led me to where I am now, really. Yeah. Sitting
in a radio studio talking to a mad ginner. I don't know.
Exactly, on a beautiful day.
On a beautiful day, exactly. Well, you are going to embark on a mighty, mighty challenge, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But I said, is there anything music-wise you're liking at the moment? Anything you particularly want to hear? What did you choose and why?
Well, I chose Blur the Narcissist because it's the new song from them. We've not heard from them for a while. Damon Albarn, obviously prolific with all these little side ventures, but it's so good to hear them back on the radio, and they've got a new album coming out, and it's just an amazing song, really. Yeah.
And you've already ordered the album, haven't you?
I've ordered the album on vinyl and can't wait for that to come out. Yeah.
Well, I think it's an ace choice, so I'm very happy you chose it. This is Blur the Narcissist. More about Jimmy's challenge in a few minutes.
Looked in the mirror, so many people standing there. I walked towards them.
Well, that was an awesome music choice by my studio guest, Jimmy Thistle, who is, I mean, you're a huge music fan, aren't you, Jimmy?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. What was it? Do you remember the first album you bought, just on a completely different tangent from what we're about to talk about?
Wow. You put me on the spot there. But the first album I ever bought on cassette, one of those old tape things, was Michael Jackson's Bad.
What's a cassette? I've never heard of one of them, Jimmy.
Yeah. Well,
It was Bad, was it?
It was Bad by Michael Jackson, yeah.
I mean,
it was
huge.
It was a massive album.
Yeah.
And it took me a few years, but then I got into like kind of grunge and all that, and Michael Jackson went out the window. But
Yeah.
yeah.
There's still a place for it, but yeah, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, all that kind of thing, Soundgarden, all of them.
Alice in Chains. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. But
good
yeah,
stuff.
music. As David Albarn once said, music is my radar.
Very good. Will music help you with your challenge next week, Jimmy Thistle?
Unfortunately not, no. Someone did ask me the other day and said, oh, we have your tunes on Welcome to the Hills. No. I mean, for me, this is going to be a little bit of a kind of mindful break, holiday type thing as well, although it's going to be a challenge and it's going to be tough. But for me, when I'm out walking in the hills, there's no headphones in or anything. It's just pure
Bird
me
song.
and the nature. And yeah. And
Love it. Because by day you're a gardener, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
So tell us then what it is you're doing next week.
So next week...
and do it into microphone for me.
Wednesday next week, I will basically head out my front door and head up towards the chasms on the Radnafoylan, which is the way
you're in
Gull.
Craignish area, aren't you? So it's so beautiful anyway. But starting there, yeah.
Starting there, head up to the chasms and start heading, north on the kind of anti-clockwise route of the coastal path of the Isle of Man. And day by day, just keep walking. So I plan to do roughly 20-25 miles a day. Camp out under the stars, as you mentioned. Eat food off camping stove, things like that. Wash in the sea, possibly. Might find some showers along the way. But yeah, and then the plan is to kind of do it in 4 to 5 days. But if it takes longer, then I'm not kind of under any time constraint to do it.
It's more about completing the coastal path.
Yeah. And if I have to drag myself over the final line at the chasms in 4 or 5 days after, then yeah, I'll do it. So
because you're going to be camping, does that mean you're going to have to carry kit with you as well?
Yeah, so full pack. I mean, I've got it. I went out on a kind of trial training hike at the weekend. I did the Millennium Way, so it's kind of Ramsey Sky Hill down to Castletown, 26 miles. It's quite brutal, but I had full pack on as well, and I'm sure it was hot on Saturday.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to kind of lighten it a little bit more. Which means, not taking things like deodorant or extra so many pairs of clothes and things like that. This is probably why you've decided to do it in the studio rather than meeting me out on the walk as well.
It is a bit of a concern because you said you'd like people to join you, but now they've heard that, they probably won't join you, Jimmy.
They can walk, a little couple of yards behind or maybe in front, depending on the way the wind's blowing. But yeah,
it's brilliant weather so far to do it. Fingers crossed. I think it's looking pretty good for next week. Would any particular weather put you off it though? If massive storms came in, would you still go ahead?
I'd still go ahead. Obviously I want it to be dry and warmish as well. Don't want to be super hot like it has been, but even if it is, I'm not bothered. I was thinking back when I planned to do it, I was like, weather permitting. Now I've set the 14th. I'm going by hook or by crook. That is it. That's the date. I've got camping gear. If I need to hang it over my back during the day to dry it out, then so be it.
I mean, surely that's half of the reason you're doing it is because it's a challenge anyway. So if weather comes in, I mean, what are some of the most difficult bits of the course going to be?
So the most difficult parts will probably be between New Arbel and kind of Port Erin. So that'll be towards the end of it, which is kind of weird that I've put it right at the end of it rather than the other way around. So coming up like Cronknary Lay. And then back down to Fleshick. So from the Arbel up there, it's brutal. I've done it the other way. I haven't done it that way. So So it'll be remains to be seen what it's like, especially after I've already walked for 3 days at that point.
Yeah.
The other part will be probably the airs down to Derby as well, because it's beautiful. It's beautiful white sands. But I'm guessing that could get quite a bit boring after a while of like 8 hours of just sea, sand, and walking on the sand as well. So,
well, yeah, but I'm presuming, are you going to bring a camera with you? Because you can take photos of all these things to distract yourself.
Yeah, I definitely taking the camera with me, without a doubt. I mean, even having my phone as well, but I'll take the camera. So yeah, I will be doing that. I mean, I've got, and I don't mean to hijack the show, but I do have another exhibition starting down in Erin Arts Centre, and that starts when I get back. So the plan is to take lots of pictures on the route, and then have them printed. So they'll be kind of exclusive in a way. No one will have seen them, because I have a tendency, as soon as I take a picture, to just post it, and it's like, damn, should have kept that
now
back.
They won't come to the exhibition.
Exactly.
But they will this time.
Yeah, so they'll be all like, you need to come along and see it. So that's
to see a coastal walk battered Jimmy with all of his photos of the route. And yeah, that sounds fabulous. And of course, it is raising money for Motivate, as we said before. So how can people support you?
Well, by the simplest way of supporting is just to kind of wish me well, and obviously if they want to come out and join me on the walk, then they're more than welcome to do that. But monetary wise, I've got a Just Giving page set up, which you can find on Jimmy Thistle Photo, Recovery Jimmy on Instagram, or Jimmy Thistle on Facebook. But Just Giving, I think it's / and then Jimmy's Coastal Walk. That should lead you to it as well. And
you've already surpassed your target, which is great, but we want more for Motivate.
Yeah. I mean, I put 500 because I'm just one guy, and that to me would be an amazing help towards Motivate, but I've already doubled that and then some. So thank you to everyone that has donated so far. I thought a lot of people would wait and see if I did it first. See if I fail.
Has he achieved?
But now it makes me accountable. There's like, I've really got to do this now.
Yeah. No pressure, Jimmy, but there's lots of pressure on you.
Yeah, exactly. I feel I thrive under the pressure, Christy.
Well, we know that about this time next week, you might well be passing underneath our window. So, or at least you'll be heading towards Marine Drive. We're hoping. So we might come out and bother you. Maybe, or maybe tomorrow. It'll be a week tomorrow, won't it? Maybe not today, because you'll be starting today. So maybe a week tomorrow, you might be passing underneath. You'd be very quick if you got here in one day, wouldn't you? On the same day of starting. So week tomorrow, we'll come out. We'll bother you with a microphone, see how you're getting on. Maybe bring you some biscuits, to keep you going. In the meantime, all the very best, Jimmy. Do keep us posted on it, and do support him. It's an excellent challenge.